The title of my work is Know Your Worth, and it acts as an effigy of myself. It's a culmination of my experiences and how others have perceived me and how I've acted due to their perceptions. It doesn't move, it doesn't function, and that is to play into the concept of being toyed with. So while it looks like a doll, no one can actually play with it, because I felt that I have put on a facade for a long time, and this is me taking my stance. Since I was 10, when I had alopecia, I lost a huge sense of who I was, because I had like auburn huge ringlets, and when I lost that, I felt like I lost who I was. But it's about owning one's physical appearance, their personality, their sexuality, their condition. In terms of my gender, I've never really felt like either or any, really. Being called a man just flies over my head, and a woman, I don't really feel like one either. I feel like I'm just me. I think we exist beyond our biological selves as well. The starting points were my own story and looking in the mirror, because that was an exercise that I did far too often. I thought, why not make this productive and make something out of it? And then this way I can separate that from me, because I always felt like I was an object, but if I physically made an object version of myself, I'd be able to view it through a different lens. People influenced me a lot in character design and character concepts. I like Takashi Murakami, who invented the genre super flat, a Japanese artist, and I really like his psychedelic and manga inspired artwork. And Kim Jong-ji, who's a Korean artist, and he works with like 5-point perspective and interesting compositions and subject matter. It's really out there, and I really admire him for that. And he can draw anything from his mind. His visual library is so expansive. I used a 3D software called ZBrush. Using that software and a tablet and a pen connector to the computer, I was able to make the sculpture through that and then get it 3D printed. But the process felt quite natural because it mimicked how you'd naturally do it with the pencil. I did watercolor trials, I did some oil, I think, and colored pencil. I all knew that digitally those effects of the mediums and qualities could be translated. So by doing it traditionally, I'd get a better understanding, I felt. And I decided in the end to go with more of an oil and watercolor aesthetic with the digital painting, the poly paint. I still get it sometimes, but my skin gets red quite easily and I look worn out. So I wanted to put that in there. That's why sometimes around the bones and the face, it looks quite raw. I've always preferred traditional art, but having to translate those skills digitally, that was a challenge, but you don't really learn unless you challenge yourself. This piece, this doll, this figurine is like the process of metamorphosis. I felt the folio was the cocoon, and then this is the final product. I felt like I've reclaimed me, and through this I'm on show for everyone, but unapologetically. The advice that I'd give to students going into Unit 3 and 4 Studio Arts is to keep track of each other. You have to push yourself, but often through that grind and talking to other people, you would have gotten something so much more fulfilling than something that just came to you in the moment. Both are so good, but use both of those to your advantage, and the resources and people around you, they're in the subject for the same reason as you. You don't want to remain stagnant, so it's always good to go outside of your boundaries, and that's how people grow. Yeah, open up, no matter how scary it is. Like, you'll find yourself as well, because it is like a labor of love, and it's almost like a child. Like, you work on this subject for like 9 months pretty much, and at the end of it you'll have it. So pour yourself into it and treat it well and properly, and then you'll get a good child.